Let's get it started. So good evening all and welcome to another class in Python. So this week we're actually rounding up port scanner. So we'll be looking at what we did in the last class. Now the port scanner should be able to actually scan multiple IP addresses at once, scan as many ports, and actually with the ability to actually grab banners from ports that are open. So we'll look at where we stopped that day and continue from there. Sorry. One of the things I actually need us to build is our more psychological moral. Please, if you are here, just type yes on the WhatsApp platform so that I can know we have a full house. Most of the time. So actually, that last link I pasted is to actually show you guys that there's a place called the source. At the source, nobody is there. You just go there. It's like most people are having link issues. You just go there and actually create your name and write your name in gold. That boy was 14 or 16 years old. He has picked up a job in Italy and is in Italy today. And I'm not sure he has the kind of opportunity you have. So nobody is there currently. You can just go there and write your name in gold. So one thing you should try to do is to actually ensure you have good connectivity. So let's get straight to action. I think we are about, the class is 50% filled. So it's change directly. So I think the last one we looked at was gedit class 3. That should be class 2-2.py. Okay, I think this is the last we did. So I really want us to understand this fully. So I'll need somebody to explain line by line what this is. Oh, sorry. So this is the last, this is where we stop. What can this particular code do? What are the functions it could perform? As a penetration tester or as a, what exactly can it do and what is it lacking? So that's where we'll pick it up from. Can somebody talk to me? What can it do? Where did we start from? How did we arrive here? Somebody can actually unmute himself and talk. Hello? Please, we will be publishing a class policy that actually should, when you are in class, try to mute, especially maybe you are in your family, don't actually let's hear your background noise so that you stay mute. So how did we arrive here? Where did you start from? How did we arrive here? What actually is the ideal program for this scan port? Nobody's saying and anything. You want me to call names? Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So yes, it's that's just on that. Okay, that is just on the surface. Mr. Godwin, Chukuma, can you tell us exactly what is the ideal code for actually scanning a port? What and what does the code need to have to be standard? Mr. Godwin Chukuma.
Good evening, Mr. Ikem.
Yeah.
Please, I don't understand your question.
Let's actually cultivate an attitude. When you want to talk, you greet your fellow colleagues, then you can say hello to me and talk.
Okay, so good evening, everybody.
Good.
My name is Gordon Chukuma.
Okay.
Mr. Ikem, so, what is the question? I wasn't getting it.
Okay, what I'm saying is, from the codes you've written, what and what made it up to where it is, and what do you think we should add to actually make it more elaborate and serve the purpose of what you want to do? You want to use it to scan websites or open ports. Now it has the capability to only scan how many websites at a time?
Just one.
Okay, good. That means it should have a capability of scanning more website. Now, it can show you that a port is open and a port is closed, but you still don't know what is in that open port. Maybe there is more information you can grab in that open port. Yes or no? So,
Looking
from,
at the
from
code.
where we are coming from where it's good we have an interactive class, because others too we have questions to ask. Maybe my screen are you guys not seeing my screen? Because somebody just the screen is not. Let me disable the screen and reshare it.
No, I can see the screen.
I'm resharing it, Mr. Ilori. So it's because I'm not sharing the code script. Now we started by only writing what port 80. Now we move to port 80 to where it can only scan what. Now port 80 but IP address. Now we move from port 80 to where it can scan multiple ports but still IP address. Now where you stop is that where it can scan multiple ports but you don't need to write IP address, you can just impute the website name. That is where we are coming from. Now today we'll be looking at how it can scan multiple targets. That's what they call it. Multiple targets, then actually still grab the banner on those targets. So you look at functions to do that. So you can mute yourself, Mr. Chukuma. I just want us to understand where we are starting from. Now, before I actually move forward, a lot of people actually said they have connectivity issue, and most of the time they are actually not following and they have to re-watch the video. So if you have any questions up till now, can you actually um, ask your questions before we move further? Because Saturday will be like more like revision, and after that we will not be taking port scanner anymore. It has been done, it has been treated. So if you have any question before we start, you can ask me.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
My name is Adelege. Good evening,
Okay, yeah.
class. I haven't seen the script that will scan the website. The two scripts that I submitted in my assignment only scan the IP addresses.
Now the script you are looking at can actually scan the website. I don't know where you stopped, but I actually have not looked at the details of what you submitted. But the one you're looking at can actually scan IP address. So the website. Now, what is actually giving him that particular function? It is this particular function defined here, which I'm actually sending to you. So the last script you wrote has that capacity to scan a website. And from what you're saying, I think I need to actually explain it one more time. Now, if you look at this script very well, we have about 2 or 3 functions currently. 2 functions. Now, the first function, the function is actually to help do what? Let me just write it here. from IP library, map, web host, to IP address. So that is basically what that function did. Now, we started basically by looking at, okay, let me close this, save this, and close this. Let's look at where we actually started from. Save, close. That's actually why I said we should have reference. I think we started from, let me see, gedit, port.scanner. Please go to your first scanner.py. Go to your first, no, this is not it. Go to your first Python script. Let's start from there. It's not here. Trying to look at the first one we wrote. No, this is not the first one. This is more like, now this is for Mr. This thing, Mr. Adeleke. This is the script you are talking about. This is the second modification. Now let me close this. Then if it's not this, okay, let's look at gedit class 2.py. I think this is it. Okay, this is the first script we wrote. Now, from this script, we defined two libraries so that I can start explaining from here. Now, we imported a library called socket, and we imported a library called IP. Now, the socket is used for connection, and I think I shared a link with you. I shared a GitHub link with you where you can actually see the functions of all these libraries. Now, basically, what do we want to do? What is the essence? What do you use a port scanner for? You use a port scanner to scan different IPs and address to see which ports are open and which softwares are running on each port. And you can grab the banner to actually do what? Get more information from it. That's what we call active what? Information gathering. We have passive information gathering. Then we have what? Active is a tool used for active information gathering. Now, we actually, in this particular script, we actually looked at scanning one IP address and just one port, which is port 80. And we ran the script. We were able to actually write, no function was defined here. We just used a try and except command. Now, try sock. Now, socket function is used to actually connect to internet. Then we use socket to connect. Then what do you need? The IP address and the port. These are the two variables defined here already. Now print port 80 is open, port 80 is closed. This is what, just the simple statement. We ran this particular stuff and we were able to actually get results. Now, if you run, sorry, excuse me. That'll be 215. Sorry, 1 minute. So it's good we refresh our memory because normally it doesn't stick. That's 216. That's 216 58 233 196. So now let's run the port 1, that first port. Let's try it out and see what it's. So is it Python 3 class, sorry, 2.py So if you input the 216.58.233, so you input there 216.58.233.196. Maybe because it's actually a busy, it's Google, so it's a busy website. That's why they say telling you port 80 is closed. So let's see again. Okay, sorry, it's 223, not 233. It's 223. That's why we're having problems. It's 223. So 216.58. I was wondering why .223.196. So you see, it should not be that slow. The IP address was wrong. So port 80 is open. Does everybody understand it up to this point? This is the simplest. This is the simplest. This is um the first code we wrote. Copy. And this is the response it's given when you run it. So as you can see, it's producing. That's why I said you should actually have them so that you can always refer to them. So we said, okay, we want to be able to scan multiple ports. We want to be able to scan multiple ports. Then we now moved to what? Clear. Gedit class 2-1.p1. We now wrote this script. Now with this function, we can now scan what? Multiple ports. Mr. Adeleke, are you following now? Now this particular script, we now brought in what? A function called what? Define what? Scan port. That is where this function changed. From the previous what you have, now you see that we now added what? This particular function here. And we modified it. With this now, you can now scan what? Multiple ports. So we'll test this script and actually see what it's going to give to us. Save. Python 3. So if we enter the format IP at 216.58.223.196. So you see, it's scanning multiple ports. It will scan it up to 50. So the functions are increasing because the capability of the are increasing because we actually increase. We are doing what? We are adding more functions. Now let's dwell a little bit. Let me Control C. Let's dwell a little bit on that function. Now, can somebody explain to me what exactly we did here? We added, you understand? In the first stuff, it was not a function. Now we brought in scan port. Now, because in this place we included a what? A for loop. For ports in the range of what? For us to be able to scan multiple ports, we included a for loop. And the for loop came with a what? What is this? What did we call this when we were actually treating what did we call this when we were treating Python 3? Because we are no longer doing Python 3 again. What we are doing now is Python 3 hacking. What did we call this? We called it, we wrote something, a lot of stuff like this, and called it a name, so that we can actually refresh our memory. We called it a name. We wrote a lot of stuff like that, and we called it a name. Are you guys there? Are you guys there? Function with what? Function with what? Function with what? When we wrote it and called it what? Function with what? I'm coming, please. Let me close this, because you need to actually remember what you're doing. I don't want you guys to be cramming. LS. Now, where do we have that stuff? I think it's func. So if you look at gedit, port scanner, I think this is where you can go back to where you have all those your stuff, all those your training stuff. No, sorry. No, not this. Where we had that. I think it's this. So good. What did we call this? What did we call when it has what? When it has what? I think you can remember all this we did. And what did we call them? So they are parameters. So if we come back to that, now always remember this. Use that to actually be refreshing your memory. Now, when you come back to this, when you come back to gedit, what is this? It has what? Multiple parameters. Are you getting it? So when we came here, we had to define the parameters. Then we now use try and except. Now, this try and except has actually been defined firstly in the first. Are you getting it? We added a function with what? With multiple parameters. Now, we first defined it here and reused it here. It's just that we implemented here. We defined it here. We defined the function here. Then this is where we use can port. Are you getting it? Now, this particular try and except has already been written before, but we now added a function called scan port. We defined it. Scan port comes with what? Multiple parameters. So try sock.connect. Now, for ports in range, now this particular define this thing, this is actually the for loop is actually its own. You understand? The function is actually tied to this particular for loop because this one was already existing before. I don't know if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. Now, this particular, this define, this is this one and this for loop, they go together. Now, because this particular, let me use another pen, red pen. This particular one was already existing before in the former script. Now, the function defined with the parameter, this is actually what is, so we actually now made what this previous one be part of the function defined. So you should take note of that as we move to the next script. Now, the capabilities of this particular program, the capabilities of this particular program, it enables the capabilities of this particular program, it enables this to be able to scan only multiple what port. Now, what changed, what gave it the ability is what the for loop we actually did what for ports in range 1 to 50, scan port. So what it does is for port 1, it comes to perform this function. For port 2, it comes to perform this function. For port 3, it comes to perform this function. For port 4, they call it what an iterative what process. Now, that has been explained clearly. Now we go back to the other part. Then now we gedit. We want to actually be able to scan websites without actually writing the IP address. You want to scan website directly. So this is where we actually now brought. This is the last stuff we did. So this particular function is already existing. So now we have function 1, we have function 2, and we have one for loop. So in the body of this particular stuff, we break it down. So you'll be able to explain what this function. Now, this one is what? Function 2 that was brought in, was created. Function 2. Let me change my pen. Blue pen. Now, this one is function 1. That is scan port function. Now, the function 2 is what? Check IP. Then we have a for loop. Then we have this argument that tells you sorry, excuse me. Then we have this argument. So those are the 4 contents of, so we have 3, then we have 4. So you should be able to explain it clearly. Now, the function 1, 3, 4 was what was in the former. Now, in function 4, we modified what? Converted IP. Now, scan port was formerly IP address. Now, converted IP now, converted underscore IP now equals what? Check underscore IP address. So we now replace what? IP address with what? Converted IP. Now, we now went to create what? Define check IP. Now try IP, which I told you that this particular function comes under the socket library. It maps what? The website to its IP address. Now this particular function too is what is enabling what? The website to convert to IP address. So please, if at this point you don't understand anything, so you should be able to break down this stuff into the way it is and be able to explain it this way. Now, function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Break it down into those 4. Those are the different functions that are working in this particular program or script. Do we all understand it now up to this point? So do we all understand it up to this point? Sorry. and you can explain it to anybody, because what you cannot explain, it shows that you don't know it well enough. We can call this 4. We can call this, sorry. But what you cannot explain is more like you don't know it well enough. So let me circle. So you can call this 3, you can call this 2, you can call this 1. So let's copy this. So you should be able to actually break it down, so you understand what each of those parts of the is doing. So I'll pause here if anybody has a question at this point, so that before we move to what we're supposed to do today. So what we're supposed to do today is to move from here. We move from here to actually now make this particular, to be able to scan multiple IP address and what websites at the same time. Scan multiple IP address and websites, and its ability to grab banner from ports that are open. So if you have any question, you can let me know. Now, the value error here is simply because we are trying to look at how we convert this particular web host name to IP. Now, I actually explained that this is a single parameter function, check IP. Now, which is calling a library called what? IP. Now, this library, what it does is it helps map the web host name to its IP address. So instead of using that NS lookup, it will actually map it. Now, like if this particular statement, this particular conditional statement here is like an if statement. If we try this particular function, IP in IP, return the IP address. Now, if there is an error, return socket.getHost by name. What it simply means is that map the web host to the IP address and return it. So if we cannot get the actual IP, use the website and actually retrieve the IP. That is what it means. Mrs. Grace, I don't know, have I explained that? Have I explained that clearly? That is what the value error is. Now, this one is actually mapping the IP address. Now, the value error, socket.getHost by name, gives the condition where you map the website to the IP address. So I don't know if I've been able to explain that clearly to you. The best way to actually do it is what? Let's come here so that you can understand. Yes. Now let's come to Google. I think I've actually, sorry. I think I've actually explained this now. I pasted this IPY library. So you can see what this does in GitHub. So okay, I think this is the page. So if you come here, let me share this link so that you look at it. So don't reason like a cybersecurity person. So it is not you are actually following the script. Now the first command there is actually this. Are you getting it? So what does that particular stuff do? IPY or IP, it should get what? Get the IP address. So what you actually told the program to do is you've defined what? Check IP. We've imported this library. That's the library now. You say try IP under IP, return the IP address. Are you getting it? So what you are trying to achieve with this particular stuff is what? You want a situation where it can convert what? IP, the name to what? IP address. So you can either use website or use what? IP address. Now, the error that you'll be getting is if somebody types in what? Website address to there. Now, that's the only error in this particular context. So, except value error, return socket.getOuth by name IP. That means if the person actually inputs the what is the website, retrieve the IP address and return it. You understand? You notice that the except statement still has return, not print or not pass. Are you getting it? So the program or the function was written in a way where the worst case value error is when you type in your web host name, so it converts it. So now go and look at socket.getHost by name. What does that mean? So that you actually prove. So now socket.getHost by name from the GitHub. Sorry. So what it simply does is you map so you see for those ones say print host name, print alias. So that is actually now what we defined there. Convert host name to what? IP address. So no, it's already here. So it's already here. So it's good so you see what it does, what convert host name to what? IP address. Now, what that is simply telling you that the only error we can get there is what? When you type in what? When you type in simply a website address, it will convert it to what? An IP, returns it. Then these particular functions now actually go on. So do you now understand that function? Does everybody now understand those functions? So you understand function 1, function 2, function 3, then function 4.
Sorry, boss. Which of the function is converting the website to IP address?
But that is what I just explained. Like you are not here. That is what I just explained. More like you are not here. Now, this particular function here, sorry, that is what does the job. Now, the way it's written, it's what? we have defined check IP from the library IP. Now, it said try IP and return IP. That if you are putting in IP address, return the IP address. Now, if there is a value error in the case where you type in your website name, this is the function that actually converts it what? And I've taken you to the GitHub program itself to show you the functionality. This is it. Convert host name to IP address. So that's what does that. So I think at this stage we've answered all your questions. Do you still have any other question to ask? Sorry, excuse me, 1 minute. Hello? Are you guys, so somebody was saying something.
Yes, please, is there any elements of DNS there? Because I read that DNS is responsible for translating the a domain name to a specific IP address.
Okay, why you hold on? Where is the parameter IP in this campus function gotten from? That's internet protocol now.
DNS, domain name system.
Wait. Let hold on with your question, Mr. Solomon. That question is actually a broad question. Just hold on with it.
Okay.
Now, the check IP is internet protocol. It was defined in. Are you getting it? Mr. Kenny, I'm trying to react to your question. It was defined in check IP. The parameter there is IP, that's internet protocol. We did not. It was not stated as IP address. Now, we now said try IP. That's the internet protocol IP. Return IP. Are you getting it? So that IP is what IP address. Taking into cognizance that in your in this particular, we have defined a parameter using socket, IP address, and port. You understand? So now, Mr. Solomon, domain name service is actually a protocol in OSIM model. You understand? So domain name service is a protocol in OSIM model. Now, that is an open system interconnection model. So all those things you've been hearing, dynamic host configuration protocol, those are what protocols of connectivity. Now, we are writing a script. You are instructing a script when you want to test a website. Now, the domain name service works with the open system interconnection. Now, the essence of this script is to enable you to actually run the script to extract what? The ports that are open when it's already hosted in the World Wide Web. Are you getting it? So your question is actually a little bit deviating. Maybe it's your knowledge of IT. Now, domain name service actually is what helps. Domain name service. Domain name service actually is when you are hosting a website in the World Wide Web and all those stuff. Now, this one, you're writing a script to actually look at what port. The script is already live and on air, carrying traffic and everything. You want to know what particular port is open and not open. Are you getting it? So the functions or the library you use are what? Socket.getHost by name. You've already defined sockets. This you remember you imported 2 libraries. You imported the socket library. What the socket does, it does what? It helps you connect. Now it's still that socket library you use to do what? Get the hosts, map the host node, because it is used for connectivity. Now, like your simple dynamic host configuration protocol that I was trying to explain to you, when you put your laptop on, it automatically helps to allocate what? Website. Sorry, IP address to your, you don't manually configure it. So that is the job of domain name service. It's not used there. It's a protocol for OC model. Now, coming back to this, I believe everybody now understand what we are doing here. So the next thing we want to do, how can we make this particular script be able to scan what? Multiple ports. Sorry, scan multiple IP address, then multiple IP address, multiple websites, and be able to grab banner. That is what we want to add to it. I think I have created the third script so that we can start with that. Let me see. No, I don't have it.
Sorry, Miss Ikem, I have a question.
Okay.
You've talked about banner grabbing for a number of time. And just because on all of this we are doing is either to scan a port, either the port is open or closed. So are we actually grabbing a banner, or there is,
Yes,
I
you
don't
have
know.
not gotten, you have not written the code. That is what you want to write today. Are you getting it? I hope you understand what you are doing, because maybe you don't understand what it means to gather information. What exactly are you attacking? What are the IT assets of a company? Can somebody tell me? Like, we have a client. The name of the client is Sololo Coast Limited. What are the IT assets of Sololo Coast Limited? They have a website called sololocoastlimited.com. What are the IT assets of the company that they want to protect from cybersecurity attack? Are you getting? So first, their website, they are your IT asset, because if you are generating database, your database is stored on it. Critical information of your servers are stored on it that can bring down your service. Mostly if you are rendering what? IT services, like all these betting company. Where do you access the bet? Where does it take place? All takes place what? On the IT or on your website. Now, if I'm a hacker, I want to attack the website. What will I be looking for? The entrance is what? Getting the IP address of the website. The next thing is what? Looking at ports that are open and softwares you are running to host your data on the website. Are you getting it? So most of you, that's why I try as much as possible to actually ensure you take this training, because you are not used to the IT environment yet. So you don't really understand what people are looking for. Those informations are critical informations. Your network server, your web server, your database server, all those information are what you hide away from the public. Because if they get hold of it, they're able to hack into the server. They can hold some of the data ransom. They can leak. I hope you are getting it. With that, they can hack into the cPanel and they can bring down what? The website down, or take control of the website. Now, if it's a website that you use to generate money every day, you understand, like somewhere like FMCG website, like Jumia, people will not be able to go to the website to shop. You are losing money. Are you getting it? So your website is an IT asset. That is why you are actually taking this particular training. Do you now understand? So these are tools you use to test websites to gather information about points of vulnerabilities on what? The website. Then how do you penetrate? The port and the IP address. Do you now get it? So take it very seriously. Have I answered your question, Mr. Godwin Chukuma?
Yes, you have.
So that is how you actually get information about websites. Or what information are you looking for? The name of the boss or his house address? You don't need all those stuff in cyber. What we're talking about, we are not talking about physical security. Can you please mute your microphone? The cyber security. So every website has an IP address. Every the IP address is the location of that particular company in the web. And how you gain entrance into that particular house or whatever they build is through the ports. So most of the time, people who actually switch and don't have IT background, you keep having this problem. Now, so when you are able to discover that one port is open, another port is not open, further inquiry is, okay, what is actually running inside this port that is open? What did they host there? Simple. You have those information. Then the next step is what? You look at vulnerability of what is hosting there, how you can exploit it. Are you getting it? So those are the steps we are actually teaching you. That is why you are writing this particular code. And you should be able to understand what each of those lines does, what each of those functions are doing. All right, we copy this. We close this. You clear gedit 2-3.py. You come here, paste. Are you getting it? Now, what you want to do is you want to allow this particular script to be able to do what? Scan multiple IP address. At the same time, what should you be able to do? You should be able to actually grab banners on the port. That's what is left to make it a complete port scanner. Remember, this is your port scanner project. You wrote it yourself. You know how to write it. You understand every function in the port scanner. Good. The first thing you do, you change this IP address to what? Targets. Because it's no longer IP address. You are looking at multiple what? Targets. You made this one what? Targets. So you now put here split with comma. I think that handles that. So you can put a bracket here. That will be a bracket here. Because you've added one bracket. So that is the first thing you do for that. Now you come back, you remove this. You actually have to write another function. You remove this and write an if statement. If comma in target. If there is comma in target, that somebody writes first website, second website, you do what? For IP add in target, split So that's the if statement that actually handles that particular activity. So this what this will allow you to do, it will help you actually scan multiple IP address. Now for IP underscore add in target, IP address in target. Now you split, scan IP address dot strip. You strip it and actually split it. That's what it's actually telling you to do there. So you write another function because you've added a variable called target. You have to define it. You come here, then you define target. Sorry, 1 minute. So you bring back that one you actually removed converted IP, converted underscore IP is equals to check underscore IP target. Now you notice that we have stopped using IP address. Now we're not using target because we changed this to what? Sorry, target. Formerly it was IP address. So we've changed it to target. Now scan. You introduce a function here called scan. So we have to define it here. That is what we're doing. So after so what you need, the next thing you print backslash n plus open bracket. So this is just to actually give you a kind of, so that it will let you know that it's actually scanning. So what we're doing here is concatenation, then string. Sorry, open target. So if you pull this, you now pull this. You pull this from here. You pull this from here. You now bring it here. So let me pull it from here. Cut. I think that's all you need to do. That's all that was added, that needs to be added. So a new function was added. We modified this. Then we modified this. So there's something you need to add. Now, if they actually put comma in it, it will scan and split. Now, except, so if you do not put, if you do not, so there's an else statement here, else scan target. So that handles that. So that completes the if statement. So if this comma in target for IP address in target dot split into IP and scan IP address and strip it in spaces. That's what it means. Else, if there is no comma, just scan the target. So that is what that if statement is doing there. Now, if you come back to where we define this particular scan, define scan target, converted IP is equal to target IP. No longer what the variable here is actually no longer IP address. It has been changed to what target, because we're looking at multiple again. Print, this one is just like telling it to actually print, scanning is start the process is going on. But this particular stuff, you already have it. We just moved it to this particular function for port in range 1 to 100, scan port so and so and so. If there are any questions, please, you can ask. So this is the first thing you do before we now add the, let's run this, then we now add the banner to it. I think I should just add this here so that we don't waste time. Now, this particular part, since we are not interested in close this thing, we are not interested in closed, we're only interested in port that's open. You can just put pass here. So when it's printing it, you just print only open port. When you save this, clear. Okay, sorry. Like more like there's a line 8. Sorry. Oh, sorry. There's some syntax error. So those are the two just simple errors there. So you can type www.google.com, comma www. Tap on socket. Okay. You're not supposed to be having problem. Scan converted. Okay. Yes. LS. What's going on? No, no, no. That's not. So, although this one is the finished script, so let me just look at where there might be. So, Python 3. Dot F scanner final dot py. So www.google. So I just want to be sure if there are no bugs in those one. So this one has been written and finished. So let it run for. So it's scanning multiple. So you see on all this standard website, it's not able to grab at any banner. I think it will end now. So I just want to say this is a finished script, but we look at what is wrong with that one we are writing and actually fix the bug. Sorry, excuse me. That's class 2-3.py. It is running, but it's not scanning. So there should be a problem. So it is running, but it's not scanning. So there should be. Scan targets. Okay. So let's clear. Mm, there's a problem. It's not scanning. So it has to do with the socket. I'm looking at it here. It's correct. Sorry, there might be a problem. The only reason why it's stupid. It's not going to define IP underscore hard. Sorry, formatted language scan. I'm not seeing any error here because it's not giving any error. I wonder why it's not running the scan. Socket code socket dot socket dot socket dot socket dot socket address dot plot. This is the function that enables it to scan. If it's not scanning, this is where the problem should be. Define target. There seems to be a problem that cannot be resolved. Define scan.
Looks like you are not scanning the targets. Check the spelling of targets.
No, that's the way it is. Sorry, who am I talking to? That's the way it is. It's not this part that is the problem. It is this part. I'm thinking maybe because I removed this so early. This is where it does the scan. If there's scanning, this is where the problem is. So let's see. Copy. Control V.
Hello, boss.
can you please mute your mic, please? For one, it's scanning, as you can see. If it's one, it's scanning, then let's do two. Clear. So I think it's that code I removed that is causing it. So it has scanned two automatically. So is that code that was removed? That is where the problem is. But I wonder why it's giving, it should pass. That was why it was skipping it. So I wonder why we are having problem there. It should pass because there was nothing wrong on that script. Okay, you have your script, so that's just what is wrong with it. I didn't want him to print so many stuff out, so I wonder why. So you can actually write yours and let's see. So that's just the only thing. It was this place that was having problem. So that's what is making it not actually scan. It had a problem with the scanning. So if there's anything that has to do with the scanning, is that particular function. The screenshot is actually not in one singular script. You have to, okay, let me send one to 25. Then I'll now send 25 to the rest. Copy. Single modification can make it look as if the script. So ordinarily, it should actually let you pass. So you can start that while I try to modify it to what I want to modify it to. Why are you giving us a problem? That's what's causing the challenge. Sorry, 1 minute, I'm coming, Mr. Yusuf Abdurrahman. Every other thing in that script is correct. It's just that part where we change it. I don't want it to keep printing. That's strip. It is strip, not split. It's strip. Every other thing on that script is I don't want it to be printing closed. Sorry. I don't want it to be printing closed. Oh, you having a problem. Why is it not scanning? I don't know why this thing is giving us some stupid error. Don't really know why we're having that shit there, but we'll try to fix it. Okay, maybe when we impute this other command into fly. So when you finish writing down, we'll now impute the command for the banner grabber. I keep wondering why. It should pass. So if you've written yours, you can let me know. Just want to make one or two calls. Who said his own is somebody said his own is working? Can you show me your script? Because it's more like the nested if the command does not work if it's not there is a nested if there that makes it work. Somebody said his own is working. You mean can you screenshot your backend? Let's see, because I'm wondering why it's having issues. Can you screenshot yours? Let's see, with the command pass. It's more like the nested if. I want to know what is wrong. Why is it not working in that condition? Let's see what is giving you. Hello? Okay. Let me share my screen. Can you run the script, Mr. Gbola? Let's see what it's giving you. On the, I think it's because it's a nested if. On this particular script I'm showing, it is working, but on that other script, it is not working. So I'm wondering why we're having such issues. So this particular script I'm showing you, it is working on it, but on the other script, it's not working. So what's this? Hello, can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Okay, that's fine because most the network here is actually shaking a little. Okay, so on this script I'm showing you, it's working, but on that other script, it's actually not working. So that's actually why on this one, so it's more like it's a nested if. That's actually why I want us to take. There is a nested if statement or conditional statement there. Then there's a problem. So what can be the problem? That is what I'm looking at. Everything looks synced. I'm wondering what's causing it not to run. Well, this can this be the problem? I don't think so. Can this be the problem? No, I don't think so. That's not the challenge. Yeah. Well, it must be fixed. think it has to be. I'm not seeing any bug here though. It's a little bit funny why it's not passing. So I think we'll leave that. Let's actually treat the other part. Let's add the other code to it. Then let's see if it's the nested if. But from here, I'm not seeing any bug in it. So what you're supposed to add to this is the banner. So you come here, you define get underscore banner. So what we are trying to do is to return the data within that. So we defined a function and the variable is what? The socket. So that's how we're putting it under socket. So we want to return 1024 data. So let's receive 1024 data from it. Open 1024. So you come here. That's where I think we have problem. Try banner is equals to get underscore banner sock. So print plus string who referring. Then you come here, type accept print So those are the two stuffs you need to add. So let me just copy. I wonder why that pass is not working. So that's what you need to modify to add the banner grabber to it. So that's for the banner grabber. It's clear. It's not still scanning. Then why are we having problems? Okay, I think I've seen where the problem is. I think this is where the problem is. That's not the problem. It's not scanning. This looks more. No, no. Oh, no, 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 no. I think there's something we're supposed to add that we have not added. So please, this place, expand it to banner.decode dot strip backslash n 123. So this is the complete for that. So please update that. Clear? There should be a problem. So this looks more like a miracle. I wonder why it's not running. Sorry. So this same script, I have to look into that. This is the same script. I think it works here. This has been written. So it works here. But I don't know why that keeps skipping, except you put, I don't want it to be showing close. I want it to show open only. We'll look into that. So I wonder why that is actually giving that issue, but I'll look into it and actually. So that is the end of. So if you say gedit, so this is the full script for port scanner. This is the full complete script. So I don't know if you guys are still hearing me. So I don't know what's wrong with that script. Maybe it has a bug in it, but this is the full complete script. Hello, can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Hello? Okay. More like the network is shaking here. So, and you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, please let me know. So this is the full complete script. So I don't know why it's not passing. So this pass part should be fixed before the next class. So this is where this particular project ends. This is the full port scanner project. So this is the full port scanner project. So I don't know why that particular pass is actually giving an issue, but I'll look into it after this class. Then somebody was supposed to, somebody said he was having issues in the last class. I think Chukunon, so I don't know if he has been able to fix that. So you can start. Can you please show your script? There's something you are missing. Okay, I've shared it already. So this is the last where the last modification is. So you had this and you had this. First, that print print target, there's supposed to be 0 in front of the scanning. So that's a line. Sorry, Mr. Fisayo. That your line 8. There's supposed to be 0 before the scanning target. Then I think that sorts that part. That sorts that part out. Now, where that your pass is actually a little not the right place. You have to move it forward to be in line with sock. Sock equals sorry. Sock equals sock equals socket dot socket. So they should be in the same straight line. Sorry, let me just pick it and show you. So let them be on the same straight line. Then the last part is, sorry, let me scroll down. Then here, please put the colon after the comma. Put the colon after the comma. So, sorry, let me just send it to you. So please, is any other person having challenge? I don't know why that particular script is actually acting up. So that's just it. We'll take, I don't know, this is, we have to close by 10. So everybody should go home and make sure it works. You can be chatting me tomorrow if you have any problem. Then we run this up on Saturday. Hi. Sometimes this code can make you look like a moron, but I think I'll get it sorted tomorrow, though. So for those who have not done their projects, try and go and do your project. And so, guys, we'll work on this and you can take it home. Let me resnap the old script for you. Take it home. If you have issues, I need to start running along. This is almost 10. This is the final part of the script. So if there's any problem, you can just chat me up. This 1 to 20, 25. Then we have 26 to 39. From here, mine is 39. So thanks everybody for coming around. It's been a ride. I'm sure you're enjoying yourself. You're having the best fun of your life. This is the end. On Saturday, we'll end the project scanner. So we'll pick it up from there. So I'm ending the class now. The internet is fluctuating seriously. But if you have any issues, you can chat me up. We'll be